So a report from Wisconsin Department of Correction reveals that over 50% of male inmates identifying as transgender females in Wisconsin prisons have been convicted of at least one count of sexual assault or sexual abuse. Out of 161 transgender identifying male inmates, 81 of them have been convicted of such offenses, including crimes like sexual exploitation of child, rape, and sexual intercourse without consent. The Oversight Project at the Heritage Foundation obtained these records, and Director Mike Howell emphasized that men belong with men and men only in prison. He argued that housing sex offender men who claim to be women with female inmates is concerning and contributes to perceived moral decline. What do you have to say about this story?
I mean, least surprising story ever. I've been talking about this, and there's a two-prong approach here. First and foremost, the advantage of a man, you commit a crime, you commit a sex crime, you molest a child, and you know how they treat pedophiles in prison, you know how they treat sexual deviants in prison. So you just say, actually, no, I'm transgendered.
Starting off with those first clips, throughout this whole video, Candace Owens and PBD murders the LGBTQ MAFIA and community, which, as we all know, most people are against, including PBD and Candace Owens, as you can see, when Candace Owens murders the LGBTQ MAFIA. Candace Owens and Patrick Bet David first start off the video with them talking on the idea that male inmates, no matter what the crime, can just say they're transgender and actually a female to go to a female prison and get an easier time in prison. Candace Owens and Patrick Bet David murders the LGBTQ MAFIA throughout this whole video. Stay tuned.
That's what's actually happening. Please put me amongst the women inmates who now need to accept. And the fact that the prisons are doing this, they're acknowledging them and affirming them, and that taxpayers are having to bear the expense. I can't even talk about how much that infuriates me. But the second element of this is that there is what's not being spoken about, well, it's definitely being spoken about on my podcast, is the growing alphabet mafia, and how they are now adding letters that really just imply sexual deviancy. You know what I mean? Like a man feeling the need to put on panties, a woman's underwear, and you're pretending that that's like a gender or an identity. Perfect example, Sam Brinton, the nuclear energy White House person, who literally was open about the fact that he was a sexual deviant. I mean, wearing heels, lipsticks, into pup play, which if you look into what pup play actually is, you will be shocked at how disgusting it is. You know, on a leash, and still got the job. You know, you used to be fearful that if they Googled you and you'd find this stuff online, your employer, you couldn't get hired. This guy got right.
This guy.
That used to be that used to be a disqualifier if you could find somebody naked and in straps and to pup play. Sam Brinton just outwardly, I am a freak and flying my freak fly high, gets the job at the White House.
He was a nuclear.
He was the head of nuclear waste in the energy department.
I gotta go.
No, I promise you. I promise you. And then guess what happened?
He's a klepto.
He got arrested three times for stealing women's panties at freaking airports.
That guy?
Candace Owens absolutely just kills Sam Brinton's idea and roasts the hell out of him. Candace Owens says back in the days, if you had a good job and they were to see you on the internet, half naked or naked, you would get fired in an instant. It's crazy nowadays to see Sam Brinton have such a good career and able to do what he does on the side. Do you think Candace Owens is wrong for murdering the LGBTQ MAFIA's hopes and dreams? Let me know in the comments down below if you think Candace Owens is right or wrong.
Yes, and
not just one pair, a whole suitcase full.
I'm calling BS. A guy like that would never do something like this, Candace. What are you talking about?
What are you supposed to be surprised?
I am shocked right now.
Told you I'm a freak, and then I did some freaky things, right? And that's what's happening right now in this climate of non-binary. I'm a man, but I want to wear women's underwear and be free. They're telling you that something is wrong, right? They are saying I am flying my freak flag high, and then we're all supposed to be shocked when they do something that's sexually deviant, and that. It's mind-boggling to me. It's why it is an issue that I care passionately about. I am a mother to young children. Why does a drag queen want access to a child? Can anybody answer that big question? Okay, you're a man and you like to dress up as a woman and go to nightclubs. Okay, flying your free flag high. Now you're demanding access to read books to children. Does that not just does it pass the sniff test, guys? You know? And then you have women,
I would want to do a sniff test with this one.
You know it's really interesting.
We're here. We're queer. We're coming for your children. You've heard this before.
Yes.
Let's all say it in unison, guys. Right? I mean, it's scary.
And here's my thing. Like, for instance, everybody here has freaking gay friends. I have gay family members. When it comes to like the Pride Month and everything, it's like, because you're talking about the sexuality of it. It's like, when is it ever cool? Name another month or a day or a moment where it's cool for any group to walk outside butt naked, G-string. And I get that there's like people are bringing their kids, which I think they should, go to jail. But when is it ever cool for you to be on a bike butt naked? Yeah. How is that?
Literally, if I said, hey guys, tomorrow's family day.
Okay.
We're going to have a family parade and we're going to celebrate families. No person is showing up butt naked, right? It's no family showing. So
well, you don't know
there's
Tom.
something
Tom
about
goes crazy. Tom goes
get naked, get on a bicycle. The men that were on bicycles, literally naked.
Patrick Bet David's co-host takes the show right here, and just like Candace Owens, he murders the LGBTQ Mafia's idea of Pride Month. PBD's co-host said that it should not be okay for the LGBTQ to be able to walk around in public with just a G-string just because there's some type of gender. He goes on to murder the LGBTQ Mafia's dumb ideas once again and says they should not be taking their kids with them to the Gay Pride Festival and be pushing that agenda to their kids. They should go to prison. That should not be allowed. As most of you know, they have been pushing the gender agenda in schools in some places too, which have left parents furious after the fact. Candace Owens murder the LGBTQ community and makes up a pretty dumb example, which was still enough to prove her point.
Right? But for some reason, when you say it's an LGBTQ pride parade, you're going to see nudity. What does that tell you? And people are fearful to talk about this. And it's crazy to me as a parent that we've allowed this to go so far, that we've allowed sexual deviancy to be perceived as an identity, as something that needs to be treated and loved. And who are the people behind saying we have women? It's always women.
Why do women not see the ridiculousness? And why aren't the women speaking out more about trans men in sports? Like, why don't?
Well, because those
aren't.
Those are feminists. Those are the Chelsea handlers, right? And so that's a whole different simulation. It's the moms at home are not the ones that are pushing that.
What percentage of women under 30, best guess, do you think fall into that type of ideology?
Like feminist?
Yeah. Like they love Chelsea Handler. They're cool with this. They're cool with men being in sports.
Difference if you're talking like early 20s versus end of 20s.
I'm saying Gen Z. Let's talk about that. 25 and under. That's the future. Mm-hmm. This is who we're trying to convince not to go down this path.
You want a percentage?
That's what I'm getting. Well, I know that you've highlighted that 20% of Gen Z identifies LGBT.
Look, here's a mayor in Burbank. He's an Armenian mayor. Okay, this guy. In the classroom, he's having this guy spank him. Check this out.
This is the Burbank?
This is the Burbank mayor.
The music might be.
That's the Burbank mayor that's doing this.
Pride, proud, love is love.
I mean,
she's a strong warrior.
And he's like, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with some of the.
To further prove Candace Owens' thoughts about murdering the LGBTQ Mafia's ideas, Candace Owens and Patrick Bet David go into the topic that the Burbank mayor actually was slapped by another man on camera in some inappropriate ways and said nothing is wrong with it. Patrick Bet David after goes on a rant about how crazy it is he's able to get away with that. Patrick Bet David is about to bring up the subject of an elementary school that is under fire by the internet and community because they decided to fire a drag queen principal. I believe Patrick Bet David and Candace Owens have very good points. And I personally don't think it was wrong to fire a drag queen principal, because that would be a crazy agenda to push to the kids, even though it's happening in some places of the world.
Craziest tweets came out about this guy, which is absolutely wild when you see the GUSD folks posted his tweets.
Oh, my God.
Constantine Anthony out of Burbank doing this. By the way, here's Oklahoma elementary school faces calls for firing a drag queen principal. The principal in Oklahoma is a drag queen. Can you please pull this picture for us? Pull this picture up for us to see it. So calls to fire drag queen principal Shane Mernon.
Yeah.
Also known as Chantel Mandalay.
Yeah, moonlights as a drag queen.
Which is scary.
Then also previously was arrested on child porn.
20 years ago.
Yeah, and basically got away with it because of a technicality. I looked into this case. Technicality because they found what was clear to one judge and another judge was child porn, but then when they brought the trial forth, they couldn't identify the child. And so basically they were like, you can't prove this is actually a child, right? So they had to drop,
Stop.
I swear,
Yes.
because you have to be able to prove. So if I say that this is a child, even if it's abundantly clear to all of us this is a child, you have to be able to prove that, right? So it was clear enough that they arrested him. It was clear enough that a judge said this arrest holds, and then another judge said you actually have to be able to say who that child, like we have to be able to say that person is actually a minor, and they weren't able to do this. So the charges got dropped on a technicality, right? So he gets this expunged from his record, and then he somehow gets voted in a private ceremony. They came together, no parents were there, and they made him principal 20 years later. Arrested for child porn charges.
Pornography.
Yeah.
What
And-
city in Oklahoma? Because if
And
this
now he
goes
just wants
down
to be in front of children.
if this goes down in
What do you
L.A.,
know?
San Francisco,
And
okay,
moonlights as a drag queen.
Oklahoma.
And Rob, can you show the photo? Could we just all be completely honest? And all the viewers out there, look how scary drag queens are. Like some people have like a clown phobia. Look how scary that guy is right there.
Yeah.
Look, zoom in on the guy on the right. What that looks like the penguin from
There's
Batman.
worse pictures, by the way.
Those, yeah, but they're scary. Like it's scary.
Nothing
You're
like
not
somebody
attractive.
who was arrested for child pornography, demanding access to elementary school children.
and they're cool with it. And they're cool.
Well,
They're
I
fighting.
don't think anymore because the
No,
story
you
got
can't be cool
exposed.
with-
This is crazy. There is no way a school was able to hire someone as a principal after being arrested and charged with child porn. Someone with those charges should never be able to be around kids like that and yet alone work with them. The system is crazy nowadays, and this is absolutely disgusting. It doesn't matter if it was 20 years later, he should be banned from doing that type of things for life. The drag queen principal had got it. Candace Owens completely murders the LGBTQ mafia with this statement due to all of them having some sort of past with either a minor or sexual offense, which is a pretty common pattern seen in a lot of these LGBTQ people and leaders.
And no, not the Oklahoma. If you I don't know if you know this, is actually the reddest state in the union.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
West
so-
Virginia, Oklahoma,
Yeah,
Alabama,
Oklahoma's
those three.
number one, the reddest state in the union. Is
Boomer
Oklahoma.
Sooners. But Pat, in LA, there's a story about California.
Read it.
So in California,
Which
here it
page
is. California passes bill punishing parents who don't affirm
Tom, set your phone
trans
aside. It's
kids
picking
in
it up.
custody battles. Okay, so if you don't affirm kids in custody battles, Elon called it utter madness. California State Assembly passed AB 957, which mandates that judges in child custody cases consider whether a parent has affirmed a child's transgender identity. An amendment in June broadened the requirement, stating that the parents must affirm their child's gender identity to be deemed suitable, okay, for the child's welfare in court, to which critics like Elon Musk, we know what happened with one of his billion children, strongly criticized the bill. Musk described it as utter madness and warned it could jeopardize parental custody if parents disagree with their child's transgender identity. So now California is like penalizing people if they don't affirm a kid's transgender transition. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. And what I've said is that I've stopped being outraged at California stories. It's like, to me, it's like if you're still a parent and you're raising your kid in California, outside of like you quite literally have no money and cannot leave the state, I can't sympathize with you anymore. I mean, I can't. I literally can't sympathize anymore. It's gotten so crazy there. Yeah. The policies that they're putting forth, that they're able to push through, they're telling you, I mean, it's basically a communist state at this point, that people are basically watching North Korea be built around them under the most extreme circumstances, and they're staying there. And then they're going, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. It's like California has showed you what California is. It is time to pick up your children and leave California. The state owns your children already in a variety of different ways. It's ending with transgenderism. This has been going on for a very long time. You saw this with COVID. They want to put shots in your child's arm. You have no rights in California. So I am now removing your right to complain if you are still living in the state of California.
But you can also
Candace Owens' anger drives her to once again murder the LGBTQ mafia and completely wreck them, saying that they ruined California. Candace Owens says that the LGBTQ agenda has ruined the environment to raise your kid. The California environment is not good at the moment, especially for kids. Candace Owens murders the LGBTQ mafia after making several strong points about the sick leaders and a past principal. Candace Owens goes on to say, California is literally a North Korea being built. California is turning into a communist state, and Candace Owens says, it's time for you to get your children and pack all your things and get out of California as soon as you really can. Candace Owens murders the LGBTQ mafia and said they are ending California slowly by pushing the LGBTQ agenda on the whole California as a state and children. Candace Owens said she has removed the right to complain if you are still living in California due to California, so blatantly showing us what it really is. Throughout this whole video, Candace Owens just murders and attacks the LGBTQ mafia and wants to put a stop to it. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Candace Owens is wrong for this, or are you taking her side? Let me know in the comments what you think, like, and subscribe. And as always, this is Media to Your Door. Goodbye.